All right, for today's flip tip, we're going to talk about basics. Basics is something that I see misused a lot on Instagram. People are like, oh, check out, I just did some basics today. And they're like doing like double cork and like fulls and stuff like that. The idea of a basic is that basics are the smaller skills that more advanced skills are built upon, right? So when you're learning harder skills, basics are one of the progressions you use to become capable of doing those harder skills. So I want to talk about this idea called the basics continuum, and I'm going to use the example of a front tuck, right? So when you first start trying to learn a front tuck, you don't start by doing a front tuck, or you shouldn't, okay? You got to be able to do a forward roll, right? That makes pretty logical sense. You might be able to see why a forward roll is basically a front tuck on the ground. You have to learn how to push your hips over your head. You got to learn how to grab your legs. All of the forward-moving things that apply to a front flip, right? Once you're done with that, right, the next progression is probably a dive roll, right? We got to learn how to, okay, let's put some oomph into the takeoff of this forward roll, but let's not worry about flipping the air and landing yet. Let's just focus on the set, right? As you're working on this dive roll, though, your forward roll should also be improving. You should be able to do a forward roll where now you're like standing up quickly out of it. If you're forward rolling and you're still like trying to struggle up off the ground, right, while you're learning to dive roll, you're missing the point. You're supposed to be improving these basics so that the building blocks of your skills are better, right? Once you are good at a dive roll, you try front tuck, okay? Because you already worked on all the progressions for that, right? But as you're doing that, your dive roll should be improving. Maybe you should be doing dive rolls onto waist-high objects now, not just on the ground. You should be going up onto something. This will help improve your set for your front tuck. Even working on this makes this better. Right? If you were stuck working on this and you're like, sweet, I know how to front tuck now, I can ignore all of this, you're missing out on a really easy way to improve all your skills, right? And even the forward roll, right? Even the forward roll can still help. What if you're doing forward roll now to stand up and dive roll right away? Now you're increasing forward rotation. You're learning how to rotate forward once and then again. You're preparing your brain for double front flip before you even thought about doing double front flip. Right? And then after that, even when you move on from that, maybe you want to do front tuck up onto something now. That's your new progression, right? That doesn't mean you're done working on front tuck. Maybe your front tuck now, your goal is to land really tall. When you first learn a front tuck, you're not landing like this. You're landing like down here in a squat, right? And that's not, I mean, it's good, you're learning a front tuck, but I don't think most people would say that that's a great front tuck, right? So that should be improving as well. At the same time, maybe you're doing dive rolls onto shoulder height now. Right? You want to land your front tuck standing up. That means you're going to have to flip higher in the air, which means working on your set of your dive roll up to shoulder height is going to be extremely beneficial. And your forward roll, maybe you're doing forward roll stand up to a waist-high dive roll now, right? Or maybe you're doing a forward roll stand up front tuck, right? You're preparing yourself to do 2 rotations in your brain. Working on these tiny things that you may have forgotten about might be the thing that makes you able to learn a front tuck so much quicker and then progress that much quicker to the next thing, like double front or front layup or front pike, right? This continuum is very important, and when you're learning harder skills, don't forget that working on the building blocks is what you should be doing when you're doing basics. If you can do a front flip, doing a front flip does not mean that that's a basic now. A basic is the building block of your skills, and those change as time goes on. So we use this example of front tuck, right? But if you're beyond that, let's say you're working on double fronts, then front tuck is a basic now. Front tuck is a basic for you because it's the building block of the skill you're working on, right? Your basics are going to adapt and change as you learn more skills, right? But calling something a basic because it's easy for you doesn't necessarily mean it's a basic. Basic does not mean easy. It means building block. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So remember that as you're training, apply it to your workouts when you go to work on skills and see if it helps.